Well, let's look at all the commodities world, in which is Ghana, of course, recently signing a loan deal with the African Development Bank that will see the country raise its cocoa yields per hectare and increase its overall cocoa production. Now, despite accounting for over 60% of the global supply of the chocolate ingredient, the Ghanaian government remains largely at the mercy of world price fluctuations. But let's see how Ghana's drive to increase its cocoa production will not only impact the global price of the commodity, but implications for Nigeria, even as the borders remain closed. Desola Simoni, one of the research analysts with financial derivatives, joins us now. Hello, Desola. Good afternoon. Good to see you.
Hi, Chimeze. Good afternoon. It's good to see you too.
Right, so Ghana is targeting an increase in its cocoa production from 900,000 to 1.6 million tons in the next few years. What impact will this spike in supply have on the global price of cocoa?
Thank you for that question, Chimeze. For some context, Ghana is the second largest producer of cocoa in the world, with an annual output of about 900,000 metric tons. But together with Cote d'Ivoire, they account for about 65% of total global cocoa output. Now, usually an increase from Ghana would increase in output from Ghana would increase global supply relative to demand, and this usually push prices down. However, in I think June, July this year, Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire agreed to set a price floor, which essentially is the minimum price at which they will sell their products. I think the price floor is about $2,600 per ton. But there are some concerns about the implementation of the price floor, which is expected to come into play in the 2020-2021 season, because the two countries do not have sufficient cold room facilities to withhold cocoa from the market in order to enforce the price floor. And also Nigeria, which is also a large producer, and Cameroon are not on board with the policy yet. So the likelihood of the implementation is uncertain at this time.
So Nigerian land borders have been closed since August 2019. Now, this coincides with the main crop harvest of cocoa. This has also reduced export smuggling of this commodity. Are we going to see a drop in export revenues?
I don't think so, and the reason is because the idea of smuggling is that the goods go through informal channels. That is, they don't go through the National Export Promotion Council, they don't go through the National Nigerian Customs Service. So because of that, I do not think that the reduction in smuggling due to the border closure would affect export revenues. However, I think that the fact that these people can no longer smuggle cocoa to neighboring countries may, and that's a big may, incentivize them to go through the formal channels, which may then increase export revenues.
Now, the importation of hot chocolate from Ghana has been impeded by the border closure, causing major problems for Nigerian local manufacturers of chocolate drinks. What can be done to mitigate the long-run effect of this problem, as the goods now have to be imported by sea and is affected by the Apapa gridlock?
My understanding is that the land borders will be reopened in January 2020. So if this happens, if and when this happens, then I think that things may resort back to status quo. However, the bigger question and the more long-run issues are the Apapa gridlock is now causing what's the word now? A trade bottleneck. So I think that what needs to happen is for the government to really focus on expanding capacity at the board to handle more volume, and also to expand the roads leading to the port, so that there's to essentially to expand the bottlenecks so that we can have freer trade via the seaports. But also I think for cocoa, because Nigeria actually produces, I think our production for last season was about 300,000 metric tons. So Nigeria has capacity to actually increase its production, and I think the government is already trying to increase that through the Anchor Borers program. However, I'm not sure. I have no evidence of the effectiveness of the policy, but I think the government should incentivize cocoa farmers to increase to produce more cocoa, and also to build the value chain of cocoa, so we don't have to import cocoa or hot chocolate from neighboring countries anymore.
All right, thank you for your time, Desola Simone. Desola Simone is one of the research analysts with Financial Derivatives Company. And that's it on the program. Thank you for watching. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwagu.